Welcome back to my F1 Championship Edition career mode. Today we're at round number 2 in Malaysia. Obviously last time out we started in Bahrain and had a pretty decent result making the most of the shocking AI. Now we're entering the phase where we've got a run of horrible races for the player. So we're just going to have to suffer through a few races for a bit. It's going to be a rough time. Malaysia, Imola, Australia, they're all going to be shit. So Malaysia realistically isn't that bad with the AI. It's just if it rains, I'm going to be in deep trouble, and it's raining in qualifying. Well, I hope going into this you're not expecting me to get out of Q1, because it's not going to happen. I can tell you that now. I'll be honest, it's not really a lot to cover in qualifying. It was overall just a very depressing experience with a lot of auto spin curbs and spins and gravel traps and just suffering through the wet weather. A lot of disappointment overall. Nothing really positive to make note of. A very sad time. Cars diving me on hot laps into turn number 1 and then just sort of holding me up and getting in the way. It was just terrible. There's not really a lot to say other than I was just having an absolutely horrible time. I did actually get better throughout the course of qualifying, mainly because the rain was slowly dying down. However, I did develop one specific hatred for turn 2, because no matter what I did, I just couldn't seem to, do it. All I could hope for really was it was due to the wet weather and it wasn't an issue that would follow me into the race, because that would be truly awful and make for a very depressing and unsuccessful race. It did actually end up drying up at the end of qualifying, but realistically it didn't matter on the wet tyres, because you can't really choose what tyres you pick. The game sort of just gives you tyres, even though they're clearly the wrong ones currently. But we got a fast lap in right at the end. It's going to be a very underwhelming P20. It's the best we could do. Honestly, we've beat the Super Guris. We've jumped the low bar. Given the circumstances, I was actually happy at P20. It wasn't last. That's all I could really hope for. The only annoying thing was Lietzi did get into Q2, which admittedly did sting a little. Not only that, Lietzi did actually out-qualify Fernando Alonso, who didn't set time in Q2. That's not any sort of engine issue on this game, that's purely just a glitch because I skipped Q2. Thankfully, the game is rather merciful as it comes to the race. We've got a dry race, 20th on the grid, can we make up positions, make up for the deficit we had in qualifying, 5 lights, lights out, and away we go. We're going to get the standard good start of F1 Championship Edition because of, well, I don't really know why. The AI are just pretty bad off the line, so we're going to make the most of it, because we know over the course of this season, or maybe even this race, the game is just going to continuously fuck me, so I'm going to take advantage wherever I can. I've lost it already. It's not been a good start. It was a good start, and then I lost it. I've actually held up Alonso, so he's down to P19. I guess that's something, but P18, we've made up 2 positions. We should have made up about 10. Alonso's absolutely sent it on Rosberg, and that's a perfect illustration of why I fear the AI in this game. So we've actually made up 1 position. That's been a shocking start. A couple corners later, we immediately find the corner. We are faster than the AI out. We had it in Bahrain. We have it in Malaysia. It's out of... I've lost the track map. Hang on. Give me 2 seconds. It's out of turn 8. Anyway, out of turn 8, we're going to get Fernando Alonso, and we're going to look at being inside Nico Rosberg into turn number 9. We don't manage to get the Williams. We're going to have to defend against the Renault. We do manage to stay ahead of Alonso, probably not for long though. He's probably going to rear end me and take me out and give me a penalty or some other bullshit that this game likes to dish out. For now though, we're going to stay ahead of the Renault, behind Rosberg once again into the penultimate corner, a horrible penultimate corner, which to this day I don't fully understand, but we seem to make it work on the exit. We're going to be side by side with the Williams. Down towards the final corner, it's very clear though we do not have the straight line speed of the Williams. We're going to try and look around the outside of the final corner, get him under braking, which we seem to do. We don't seem to do, he's outbroken us. We're going to get a cutback on him. We're now going to get Rosberg finally, as we come into lap number 2, side by side of Albers and the Midlands car. Crossing the line to start lap number 2. in P17, which soon becomes P16. Now we can challenge Takuma Sato into turn number 1, send it up the inside of the Super Oguri, and look at that, we're up into P15. We've got an unfortunate gap to make up to the Sauber of Jacques Villeneuve, but let's see, with this clear air, hopefully we can find a rhythm and, ideally, make up places and get up this field. Whilst I was saying that, Liuzzi has been overtaken by the Sauber, so it's going to be teammate on teammate on lap number 2. Hopefully my teammate doesn't hold me up, and we're actually going to get him through the S's. I don't really know how I did that. I'm going to assume Liuzzi has damage, because I would have bet anything that he would have taken me out in that scenario. But as we come through turn number 8, we're going to be side by side with the Sauber down towards turn number 9. We're going to have to try and go around the outside, which obviously is not going to work at a corner like that. And unless we can get him into the final few corners, once we hit the straight, that Sauber is going to fly away from me. So, you know, not wanting that, I'm just going to comfortably overtake him through turn number 11. And this is actually going surprisingly well. Who knew you put me on a dry track on this game and I can actually perform well? And my strong form continues. Lap number 4, we're right behind Mark Webber in the Williams, the second Williams. We're now battling for P12, and it looks like if we keep up this pace, we could actually challenge the top 10, maybe even get into the points. For our favourite corner, we're going to get the Williams. I don't know what it was about that corner, but there seems to be at least one corner on every track on this game, and never mind, he's taken me out into turn number 9. Give me a puncher, and that's basically race done. Thank you, Mark Webber, you complete twat.
You got involved in that scrape as well. Your left rear tyre has a serious problem, it's punctured.
Thanks, James. I did have to go back and look at this, 1 because I wanted a thumbnail, and 2, I wanted to see if I actually moved in the braking zone and he actually had a reason to dive me, or most likely he just dived me and went into the back of me. So let's see. Going through turn number 8, we get the roller name up the inside. We then move to the inside of turn number 9. I mean, it's certainly debatable, but I'm happy to just blame the AI on that one. I don't feel like taking any sort of responsibility. I'm a digital F1 driver and a former league racer, why should I take responsibility for an incident? I mean, it definitely wasn't the worst place to get a puncher, but either way, it's not really ideal because you have to go so slow, otherwise the car's just going to spin out. And also I couldn't really turn left very convincingly, so we very awkwardly come into the pit, and it's going to be a very long second stint. I very nearly DNF'd the car on the pit barrier, but we make it back to the pit. We're in last place. We've lost all hope of points, despite having strong pace initially. We're going on to the slower tyre, which I dislike quite strongly, and this is where the good form of Malaysia really comes to a screeching halt, much like Mark Webber. We get a good pit stop, but realistically it's not going to matter. We're going to come out comfortably in P20, and we really have to rely on DNFs to actually get a good result here. We're going to keep pushing because the important thing at this stage of our career is just finishing races so we can get a better drive. Unfortunately though, it's going to be a very boring end to what initially was looking like potentially a very good race. It goes severely downhill from here. I don't know what it was about these prime tyres, but my problems with turn 2 quickly came back because every single time I went through that fucking corner, the car wanted to kill itself. I lost absolutely all confidence every single time I went through that corner, but we were picking up places thanks to retirements. I was just terrified of the ominous red and yellow flags because of the oil spills, which obviously were directly on the racing line. But we were able to pick up positions as the race progressed. It wasn't very exciting, but we were moving up the field. Unfortunately, my race developed into purely not wanting to lose to Yuji Ide, because you can't possibly lose to Ide. That's you might as well just give up racing entirely if you lose to him. He is famously known as one of the worst. I am famously known as one of the worst F1 drivers, so beating the second worst F1 driver is going to be an achievement and is the goal I should really aim for. Yeah, it's fair to say by this point, the extra long stint I did on the hard tyres was really starting to affect, well, the tyres. So attempt number 2 of trying to pass Yuji Ide, we catch him in exactly the same position as last time. Hopefully it's not a complete carbon copy and I don't spin out this time. Can we use my favourite corner to my advantage on this occasion and actually get past the Super Oguri, or will I have to give up racing entirely? Through turn number 8 we get a good run, It's not quite, it's not really a confident pass. I thought I was going to cruise past him a lot easier than that. He doesn't rear end me like Mark Webber did, so maybe Webber is actually a worse driver than Yuji Ide.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
You know what? I'd like to apologise to the Webber family on that one. I deeply apologise. But we get past Ide. We are 3.2 seconds behind Montero, 5.5 seconds behind Sato, both of which, with 5 laps remaining, they could be in reach. We could get P14 this race. And you know what? Given what I had to go through, that's going to be a decent result. With 3 laps remaining, I catch onto the back of Montero in the Midlands car. Coming through my favourite corner, we get him up in a P15. That is the kind of speed I expected to pass Yuji Ide by, but you know what? We got the result regardless. You can't argue with results. 2 laps remaining and we are hunting down Sato for P14, which, as I've said, that's going to be an incredible result. Never mind, the tyres are really starting to pain me now. That one I don't think was even really my fault. You can see the struggles I'm still having through turn 2. That was actually every lap. But I feel like with the state of my tyres now, that's P14 gone. We can go for P15 though. That would still be successful in my eyes. So long as we don't lose to Ide, that's all I want really. At the end of the penultimate lap, we're right behind Montero for the second time. It's looking like it's going to be another easy pass because for some reason the Midlands is absolutely shocking, even compared to the Toro Rosso on these shocking tyres. Coming through the penultimate corner, onto the back straight. It's not really a good run, but we're going to be in the slipstream of the Midlands. Not that you can really tell because this car is shocking in a straight line. We're very slowly closing onto the back of him. Up the inside into the penultimate corner. That's the final corner, you moron. Up the inside of the final corner. Coming onto the final lap. P15 for the second time. Let's see. Let's watch as we go down to turn number 1. Can we survive turn number 1? Can we survive turn number 2? That's the real question, as Massa has already won the race. As we're starting our final lap, we run horrendously wide into turn number 1, send it up the inside of Montero into our favourite corner. That was the most aggressive I had taken turn 2, mainly because I just used Montero as my brake, which absolutely, in no way, shape or form is legal. But as far as this game's concerned, absolutely clean move. We're going to hold on to P15. Hopefully. And we are, barring a horrendous mistake into the final corner. We managed to catch into the back of Sato, but it's not going to be enough. It is going to be P15, which, as I said, it's a decent result. For my second race, it's obviously not going to be a podium like in Bahrain. It's not going to be points, it's not going to be a top 10, but it's a decent result. It's a Ferrari 1-2 with Massa leading the way, Raikkonen in P3. It's a shame we're not on that podium because I would have loved to have seen what the hell they've done to Felipe Massa. I guess we'll have to wait for another day for that. And Fernando Alonso has a decent recovery to P7. Still kind of underwhelming for the world champion. As we go to the second page of results, we don't actually beat Liuzzi. He finishes P12, which is actually pretty good for Toro Rosso AI. I'm sure the 5 mechanical retirements had absolutely nothing to do with that pretty strong result for the Italian. I'm not bitter. In the Drivers' Championship, Michael Schumacher leads the way, 18 points to Felipe Massa's 13. Obviously not scoring points, we're going to drop down to P6 with our 6 points from Bahrain. And looking at who's behind us, don't worry, Raikkonen, Barrichello, and I'm sure Fernando Alonso eventually will also be jumping me. We will not be on the first page of these results for much longer. In the Constructors, Ferrari have already a pretty decent lead over McLaren in second and Honda in P3, Renault having a shocking start to the season, and Toro Rosso dropped to P5, 4 points ahead of Toyota, which honestly, I think P5 is a realistic goal if we have a good season. Also, it would just be funny to finish ahead of Red Bull. And while it wasn't a good race by any stretch of the imagination, what's important is what the team thinks. Go into our emails, they say, well done, Connor. Thank you, team. God, it's just so nice being in an encouraging and positive environment. Not anything like my YouTube comments.